the glassy sea. Such a thought is hard to fathom. In the presence of my King, and with countless ones forgiven, gathered round the throne to sing glory and honor. Worthy is the Lamb. Cannot express it, all the ways you reign supreme. Even death can't hold the vastness, nor approach this awesome thing. 'Cause you are God, and to your glory we will worship and abide. In your presence there forever, we'll be happy to reside. Glory and honor. Worthy is the Lamb. Glory and honor. Worthy is the Lamb. May the presence of the Lord go with you. May the presence of the Lord go with you. May the presence of the Lord go with you. And He will give you rest. And He will give you rest.
Good morning. Let's sing. I woke up this morning with my mind staying on Jesus. I woke up this morning with my mind staying on the Lord. I woke up this morning with my mind staying on Jesus. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. There's no condemnation when my mind staying on Jesus. There's no condemnation when my mind staying on the Lord. There's no condemnation when my mind staying on Jesus. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I'm singing and praying with my mind staying on Jesus. I'm singing and praying with my mind staying on the Lord. I'm singing and praying with my mind staying on Jesus. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I can't hate my neighbor when my mind staying on Jesus. I can't hate my neighbor when my mind staying on the Lord. I can't hate my neighbor when my mind staying on Jesus. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. So I woke up this morning with my mind staying on Jesus. I woke up this morning with my mind staying on the Lord. I woke up this morning with my mind staying on Jesus. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Good morning. Welcome to the Sunday morning worship of the Dale City Church, January 23rd. Can you believe it's January 23rd already of 2022? Glad you're here. Glad you're with us online. Hopefully we won't have any online gremlins today. Please get a bulletin. If you didn't already grab one, feel free to get up and go get one of those. There will be some things you want to see in it later that are part of our presentations today, and I would encourage you to participate with that as well. We have a couple of special people today that we need to recognize. I just wanted to do that first thing. One is Tom and Mary Haslam. Is their wedding anniversary. They've been married 52 years today. And they're watching online, I'm sure. And if you can top that, so we have also Don and Carolyn Haley, relatively new members here, and they've been married 69 years today. And they're right back here in the middle of the auditorium. Don's going to lead our prayer for us in just a little while. We want to take a minute and just do a commercial real quick. You know that next Sunday is the fifth Sunday. It's the first fifth Sunday of the year, and traditionally we have an extra giving opportunity, and we earmark those for some worthy cause. And at the request of several of our members here, the worthy cause for this next fifth Sunday extra giving opportunity is going to be Tipton Children's Home. And we have today one of our members, Lee Todd, who's intimately familiar with Tipton's Children's Home. I'm going to ask him to come up here and give you a little lowdown on Tipton and tell you a little bit about that particular work so you can be thinking and praying about how you can participate in that next week. And when he is done, we'll kick off the rest of our singing this morning. Come on.
I'd like to thank Jeff and the elders here for this opportunity to help with the children at Tipton. If you don't know me, my name's Lee Allen Todd. I was principal. I was hired in 2003 at McLeod, and I was there until 17. My sons and I started coming to church here in 2006. The boys went through the youth program. I see a couple of the ladies here that helped them when they went through all of the things they had growing up. Eagle Scout, graduations, the church camp. I can't tell you how much I appreciated that. And you as a congregation helped raise my sons. And I appreciate that so much. But there's a place that it's also doing that, and that's Tipton's Children's Home. I grew up there. If you don't know where that is, it's down in southwest Oklahoma between Lawton and Altus. If you go down H.E. Bailey, get to Lawton, hang a right, drive out there about 40 miles, take a left, and you'll end up at Tipton. It's a farming community. My parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents were farmers down there all my life. I retired in 17. My dad, in 16, he had died. I went back and forth. Y'all didn't see me around a lot. And went down there to help my mom. We ended up farming for a couple of years, finished up, sold everything, and then in 19, I bought a house back up here, and so I'm back and forth. I had those two boys, Lane and Josh. They're both married now. They're both in the military, doing really well. I've got a new granddaughter that was born in January, so I'm really excited to go next week and go down and see her down in Florida. He's based down there. The other one, Josh, lives in Denver, and he works for a bank and also in the National Guard. All right, Tipton Children's Home. Tipton's Children's Home is a residential home for children 5 years old to 18. They strive to get children in through parents and guardians' private placement. They take no state money or no federal money. They are, all of the homes in the state of Oklahoma have to be registered through the Department of Human Services. And so just like, say, a daycare, it's basically the same kind of thing. They came in and authorized them to be, and they're checked all the time. They have counselors on staff. They currently have 32 children. The 26 of those children are kind of unique. They're not orphans. They have mom and dads. They are immigrants. They are children of immigrants from Liberia. In 1996, Liberia went through a civil war. Bill Clinton at the time authorized for the immigrants to come into the United States. Those men and women that escaped that Holocaust brought their families with them, their children. Most of these children some of them were born there, but most were born in the United States. They live in the Midwest, Iowa, Nebraska. A lot of them work at packing plants, those kind of jobs. In their culture, in Africa, those children would only stay with their parents until around 4 or 5 years old. Then they would be taken to their relatives to live until they had reached the age of consent around 17. And they still, there was a Church of Christ minister that got Tipton involved in it. So the majority of those kids, that's what you will see if you go and visit. And I highly encourage you to do more than just give a little bit of money. Just like Jeff talked about a couple of Sundays ago about It takes more than that. That's not a sacrifice. And actually, that won't help keep this organization going. It takes more than that. And you've got to go down there and see it for yourself. See what's going on. Spend a little bit of time. Just like coming in here and just listening to Jeff every Sunday won't make you a Christian. Supporting them by sending them $20, $1,000 will not do it either. There are very few of these Christian homes left in the United States, period, but especially in Oklahoma. Tipton's the oldest now. They used to not be, but they are. The Catholic ones have closed up. The Baptists have closed up, or a lot of them have. There's still a few around. There's 32 kids there now. They're full. They have 6 cottages that have a husband and wife team and their family that take care of 8 children. 2 of those, there's 4 full-time, and there's 2 that they rotate around to give them their days off and when they can go on vacation and things like that. A little bit of the history of how it came to happen. The children's home was originally started in Wheeler, Texas in 1921. What happened in 1921? Well, in 1918, there was something called the Spanish flu going on. It was devastating communities, and there were actually a lot of orphans at the time. The very first set of orphans, it was from one family. There were 5 children that were brought in. They were brought in by the preacher at the Church of Christ in Wheeler. And their mom had died, and 2 other siblings had died. Their dad had lost his job. He'd been really sick, and they were starving to death. He took them in, and an older couple donated a 2-story house. And they started feeding and taking care of these children. They weren't the older ones. Then they started coming. In the next 3 years, they had over 50 kids in that one little house. They started looking for somewhere else to put those kids because they knew they weren't going to be able to handle it. And the leaders at the time at Tipton, at the church, heard about it. A man by the name of Saul Tipton, that's what the Tipton home is named after, not after the town. It was named after him. And the town wasn't named after him. It was a totally separate guy. Saul donated 80 acres of land. He was one of the leaders. My great-great-grandfather, Lou Allen Andrew, was also one of them. Another man that went to church there owned Star Motor Company. Has anybody in here ever heard of Star Motor Company? I hadn't either. They made a car that looked exactly like a Model T. He donated 14 vehicles for those men and women. They drove the cars out there to Wheeler's about 200 miles one way. In 1921, they picked up their kids, all of their belongings, and brought them back to Tipton. They've got a really neat little book that was written about them. Sometime I'll bring up here if you want to read. It's really neat. It's also a story about the pioneers at that time and what was going on. But they brought all those kids in, and that in 21 is when it started. They raised $1.4 million, and people just like you, not just Christians that went to church there, people from all over, everywhere, all over the state. They wrote in letters. If you ever go down there, you'll see their museum. They've got, and there would be $1, $2, $5 was sent in, and they raised over $1.4 million, and they built that first facility at Tipton. If you go down there now, which I highly encourage you to do, and see it, it's a beautiful campus, big, beautiful, majestic pecan trees that are about 60, 70 years old, and they've got the main building that's still there, and then the cottages around. I would appreciate any financial help you can give, but I ask you more than that. I ask you to get involved. These places are not going to be there very long. These kids like this are not going to have the opportunity if we don't go do more than just give a little bit of money. You got to talk to your legislators. You've got, y'all know, and there have been some wonderful people that the department that have been foster kids. These two, they've got the sweetest grandson in the world that has some of them. But I'm going to tell you, that's the exception. As being an administrator in school, I've seen it. This programs like these are long. Kids need families that are there for them long